Let's talk a little legit or not, because Saturday's wildcard game against the Seahawks will affect Matthew Stafford's legacy, according to one Golden Tate. That's his current wide receiver. Take a listen.
I think it's huge. I think it's one thing that he's definitely wants to do. I don't know how much he talks about it, but you can just tell by his focus this week that he's extremely focused, striving for perfection and wants this. We all want it. He's a great quarterback, no doubt about it, and, we definitely want to get him that win, along with a lot of other people in this organization. It's been a long, long time, so we're going to try to get a win streak started here.
Okay, what he's referring to, Dylan, is that Matty Stafford is 0-2 in his career playoff performances. He says he's a great quarterback, but that this will be a legacy game for him. When I hear the quote versus seeing it, it's different. It's contextually different for me. That does not seem. When I read it, I go, why would a current wide receiver say, "Oh yeah, it's big for his legacy"?
True.
But when you hear it, does it change the way you interpret it?
I think so. I know what you mean by that. I think it's legit. He's 0-2 right now. Got a big opportunity on his hand. Now, to me, let me clarify. I don't think no matter what happens, we're either going to look at Matt Stafford as a legendary great quarterback who comes through in the clutch and is one of the game's best if they win, and the complete opposite, a clown,
Ryan Leaf.
Choke artist, a abysmal quarterback who's one of the worst we've ever seen, an 0-3, can't win in the playoffs, and he's just trash if they lose. It's not that simple.
Somewhere
it's not that black or white.
Right.
But I do agree that at 0-2 throughout his playoff career, now we've seen what he's capable of without Calvin Johnson having his best season ever, growing, maturing as a quarterback, playing the cleanest football he's ever played, taking care of the football. They have no run game, and he's been able to lead this Lions team to a lot of close victories. So for me, I think if you can go into one of the most hostile environments we have in the National Football League, with the playoffs added in top, you throw that in the stew, with Seattle and the 12th man, everything they have going for them, and you go into their building, shut them up with a win, and finally get this Lions team off the schneid since the 50s, that's big. Now we're talking legacy. That doesn't define a legacy. It doesn't move him from this legacy to then this path of legacy. But what it does is it will cement that he can breathe. He can exhale.
Sure, I won one.
The franchise can exhale, and it's a good one. It would be a quality one. It's not like they would end the streak and the schneid that they're on by, let's just say the Raiders-Texans game that's on the other side in the AFC.
Sure.
Whoever wins that game, the Raiders haven't been in there since 14 years. The Texans choked it and played horrible against the Chiefs at home last year in the playoffs. Doesn't matter. Whoever wins that game, it's just like, great. You get to move on to lose next week.
That's what's going to happen.
But for the Lions, this would be a really quality win. I think it would go a long way for Matt Stafford's development and the way the media, the way the rest of the NFL view him as a player.
First overall pick back in the 2009 draft. And do you remember that controversy about 4 or 5 years ago? The guys that wore their hat on backwards couldn't win playoff games. Tony Romo and Matty Stafford. He was among that. They still really haven't had a ton of success. I wonder if there's anything to it. It seems like the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
That's why Dan Cortez still has not won a playoff game.
Dan Cortez made the show. What are you doing these days?
Too rad, bro.